Hello, everyone. This is the second para summary question from the CAT 2024 slot 3 VAC. So, as for the direction, the direction stated that there is a passage given below, which is followed by four alternate summaries. We need to find out the best option which identify the essence of the passage or captures the essence of the passage. Well, let me point out what this passage is given, and then after we will discuss the explanation of it, and on the basis of that, we will go for the choice. Well, before we jump to this particular passage, uh, I suggest you to go for yourself, pause the video, and try to means go for the text, try to read it, try to identify the main idea, and check the main idea given in the option or not, right? So, and try to make a focus on elimination process, and through the elimination process you may find out means um, the best answer, right? So if you find out there are two close options, then your job is to evaluate each of the options very carefully and see there is any kind of a grammatical disruption or called as a slight change of um, any kind of extreme words, right? Or maybe deviation of the main idea or not, right? Let's move to the text and tries to understand what this text is trying to tell us. So the text starts with the idea that called as humans have managed to tweak the underlying biology of various plants, right? And it also says that what and animals to produce high-tech crops and and microbes. But regulating these entities is complicated as the framework of policies and procedures are outdated and not flexible enough to adapt to emerging technology, right? Then after it is stated, the question is whether regulation will ever be able to keep up with, you can say that human innovation or not, to regulate living things which are apt to be unpredictable and unique. So, and after that, it is stated that to capture all the potential risk when new biological entities are introduced or when they pass on variation of their genes, right? That's what you can find out the whole text is all about. I believe that it could be a 50 to 60 word text. So the text is trying to state that humans have managed to tweak the underlying. Okay. So humans have managed to tweak the underlying biology. It means humans have learned how how to change the natural biology of plants and animals, right? To create what advanced crop and helpful microbes, right? However, you can say that what controlling or regulating these new life forms is difficult. These new life forms is difficult means here you are talking about the natural biology of plants and animals. So, however, controlling or regulating these new life forms is difficult. Why? Now, because the rules and laws we use are nothing but called as old, right? And you can say that what not made to handle fast developing technology, right? Um, then after it is stated that what here the main question is what can rules and regulations keep up with the how fast humans are inventing new biological things, right? Living organisms are actually unpredictable and different from one another. So it is difficult to foresee all the risk they might cause, like when new life forms are created or when they pass on their changed genes to others, right? when they pass on variation or when they pass on their change genes to others. Now, in that case, the text is asking what whether regulation can adapt quickly enough to keep humans safe from the potential problems that new modified plants and animal might bring, right? So that's what the whole text is all about. Now, if I go to the means these options, option A, B, and C and D. So the first option stated a new framework of rules and procedures, a new framework of rules and procedures for regulating the most recent, what you can say that, most recent research emerging from biotechnology is urgently needed to keep up with the rapidly changing discipline, right? So it is trying to state that a new framework of rules and procedures for regulating the most recent research emerging from biotechnology is urgently needed. Now, we need to see that whether this information is taken from the text or not. Please to understand that when you go for the choices, try to see that means uh, in the first look you can find out that whether the choice is one third of the original text or not. Because of the length, because of the size of the text, we can draw that what whether this could be summary or not. Because if the text is a lack means a very thin or called a one line sentence, then this could be known as a lack of information possibly present in the text. If it is excessive or called as a, you can say that not one third of the text, but maybe you can say uh, three-fourth of the passage or called as a two-fourth of the passage. On the length of it, you can draw that it could be two-fourth or three-fourth. Then you can eliminate it because you assume that what this may contain with the um, extra information or excessive information or irrelevant information, isn't it? So, however, I could see that in this text means uh, all these options having with the um, limited or the amount of information which will be suitable. Only we need to look at that whether the main idea is present or not. So option A is trying to suggest that what means a new framework of rules and procedure for regulating the most, um, you can say that recent research that emerging from the biotechnology is urgently needed. So whether this text is present or not, we will evaluate that. But look at that option B. What does it say? It says that current regulation of biotechnology is outdated. Yes, but it is debatable, right? But it is debatable if we can create a framework, imaginative and flexible, to cover all contingencies in the what we can say that in this fast changing area. So this could be appearing like this is the answer, but let's look at that option C. Option C said the problem with the formulating regulation for innovation in the scientific arena, it that it is impossible to imagine the outcomes of or risk related to the outcome of all the research. Then option D said that what the mercurial nature of biological entities calls for scientists to shape the regulating government emerging technology with regular, you can say that regular calibration to handle variation in the field. Now, if I look at that, the first option should be what we can say that. So in that case, the first option is trying to tell us that means a new framework of rules and procedures for regulating the most recent research emerging from biotechnology is urgently needed. Now, in that case, uh, it is trying to say that we urgently need a new set of rules and procedures to control new biotechnology, new biotechnology research because this area is changing very fast, right? That's what it is trying to tell us. So, what do you think that could it be the means? Summary of the text. That is what the text is trying to tell. Okay. Now look at the second choice where it is stated that the current rules for biotechnology are old because it is stated outdated, but it is also said it is debatable, right? So it is trying to say that the current rules for biotechnology are old or outdated and not up to date, but it is not sure if we can create new rules that are creative and flexible enough to hard to handle every possible situation in this rapidly changing field. Now, this could be the appropriate because this is what the text is trying to tell us. Look at that. The C option C is just stating the problem with the formulating revolution for innovation in the scientific area, or you can say that it is trying to say that the main problem with making rules for scientific innovation is that it is hard to predict, or you can say that impossible to imagine, right? Uh, so it is hard to predict all the results or risk that might come from new research. So we will keep it also. Then look at the option D. Option D stated the mercurial nature, right? Mm, the mercurial nature, uh, and you can say that the mercurial nature of biological entities calls for scientists to what shape the regulations governing emerging technology with regular calibration to handle variation. So this option is trying to tell us that since living